Hasbro wants to give you free figures, and Star Wars Celebration wants to know what you think. It's January 25th, and you'll hear about those stories and more this week in Star Wars. This Week in Star Wars is your source for new and noteworthy developments in the world of Star Wars. I'm your host, Matt Fox. And now this week's lead stories. This week's first story comes from the world of collecting. Hasbro has announced that select roleplay toys, such as lightsabers, blasters, and clone helmets, will now include coupons which will entitle the purchaser to 3 free Saga Legends figures. The promotion, which is being advertised on the Hasbro.com website as well as television ads, appears to be an effort to clear out stock of the slow-moving Legends figures from store shelves. Full details and a copy of the redemption form are available on Hasbro.com/Star Wars, but a quick survey of the materials would indicate that there is no mechanism by which the purchaser can choose which Saga Legends figures they will receive. However, there do not appear to be any additional charges, including shipping and handling fees, beyond the initial purchase price of the item. Eligible items must be purchased by March 20th, 2010, and the original receipt must be included with the redemption form. Full details are available at Hasbro.com. Here's hoping that everyone doesn't get 3 Plo Koons. Star Wars Celebration promoters sent an email this week directing recipients to a survey site regarding what they would be interested in seeing in terms of Celebration programming. The survey itself found several ways to ask basically the same question about participants' interests for the convention, as well as what promotional items or free exclusives might be of interest. Interestingly, the survey also asked which element of the saga the attendee was most interested in, the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, or the Clone Wars. If you have ideas or suggestions for the Celebration planners, it appears that this is the time to go to StarWarsCelebration.com and let them know what you're thinking. Star Wars Celebration 5 is going to be held in Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, Florida, August 12th through 15th, 2010. Now the rest of the news. Clone Wars returns to Cartoon Network this Friday with a 3-part story featuring fan favorites Mandalorians, long promised for Season 2 but as yet unseen. These episodes, which begin the second half of the second season of the Star Wars animated program, can be seen at 9 o'clock Eastern on the Cartoon Network and can be purchased on iTunes. There's more new hints about possible Hasbro product in this week's collecting news. In the previous episode of This Week in Star Wars, I referenced leaked imagery of a possible Hasbro PowerPoint presentation, which seemed to indicate that there would be a new AT-AT vehicle available sometime in 2010. And while I pointed out at the time that that slide did not show an image of the toy in either final or prototype form, alleged images of a prototype did surface on the web this week. actoys.net made available a single image of a possibly prototype AT-AT vehicle. There is no scale or reference to the size of the vehicle, and it looks surprisingly not too different from the 1980 toy. However, forums across the web are already abuzz about whether or not the image is legit or not legit, and if it is legit, how good or bad it is. Only time will tell whether or not it is a true image, and we'll probably learn about that at Toy Fair in New York next month. Gentle Giant made available several new items for pre-sale this week, including a Darth Revan mini-bust and an animated style maquette of Princess Leia in her Jabba prisoner slave outfit. These items are available at Gentle Giant's site for pre-order, as well as numerous other web retailers. There are a couple new Star Wars publications this week as well. Crosscurrent by Paul S. Kemp is the new paperback novel available on January 26th. The story appears to span several eras of the Star Wars saga and can be ordered from Amazon.com and is no doubt available at most other major book resellers. Also available this week is Star Wars Insider number 115, with a cover story about those previously mentioned Mandalorians from the Clone Wars. Lastly, issue number 44 of Dark Horse's Star Wars Legacy will be available this week. And those are the scraps that I call the news this week. There was one other bit of collecting news in the last few weeks. The winner of the Hasbro's Fan Choice Poll was announced, and it's none other than Bastilla Shan, or Shan, from the Knights of the Old Republic video game, which I've started to play more times than I can count, and never gotten off Taurus or whatever that planet is that you start out on. Now everybody seems to have an opinion on this figure. I seem to think that it's just as valid as Darth Malak or Darth Revan, who were both popular figures in the 30th anniversary collection, sold out quickly, didn't see them hanging out on the shelves, and seem to be popular in the secondary market, which is a singular achievement for Star Wars figures post-1995. Now, I understand that there are people out there that just hate everything that's from the EU. I'm not one of them, although I don't follow all of the EU because, like Harrison Ford, I already work around the clock. But I certainly prefer an interesting EU figure to a boring original trilogy resculpt or repaint like Malakili or Yarna Del whatever. In short, if the line is going to survive, it's going to have to embrace the EU. Get used to it. And that was This Week in Star Wars. Join us again next week for more news, notes, and developments from the galaxy far, far away. Visit our website at www.twisw.com, where you can find links and more details about the stories mentioned in this week's show. Suggestions, questions, or comments can be sent to host@thisweekinstarwars.com. This Week in Star Wars. We prowl the web so you don't have to.
This Week in Star Wars is not affiliated with Lucasfilm, its subsidiaries, or any other entity mentioned in this podcast. Star Wars, its characters, and creations are the property of Lucasfilm. All other trademarks are property of their respective trademark owners. This Week in Star Wars is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. This podcast is copyright 2010 This Week in Star Wars. Invaluable technical assistance provided by WebStorm Interactive. News, comments, and questions can be directed to host@thisweekinstarwars.com. More information, links to stories presented, past episodes, and additional contact information are available at www.thisweekinstarwars.com.
I already work around the clock. I already work around the clock. I already work around the clock. I already work around the clock.